Hey everyone, and welcome back to another installment of Ticket Stubs and Popcorn. I am Frank.
And I'm Peter.
He's Peter. Today we're going to be talking about Dwayne Johnson. Who doesn't love Dwayne Johnson?
Dwayne Johnson.
He is he's a rock.
He's incredible.
I was kind of hoping. I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to do a stupid rock pun
Why not?
thing, but
Come on.
but I'm a jackass. So
Yeah.
so what are we talking about at the end?
Dust off that dad joke book
Oh
there and use the
no,
thing.
God,
No,
puns I can't stand. So
I do have a question.
All right.
How about what's your opinion of a successful, maybe favorite book adaptation
okay,
to film?
all right, yeah, that's a good one.
Or
chat
if
about. There's so
if
many.
if you have the opposite too.
Yeah, all right.
Like,
No, I got to.
that's a bad one or whatever.
I think that
you know.
they are bad more than they're good.
I agree.
I think.
Even if they're successful, they're sometimes just like, okay.
Yeah, okay, that's the same title as this book that has nothing to do with the story. Like what they ended up doing with like
Exactly.
Subsequent.
It was a big seller 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's just do this one.
Like I think once they left, I think it was after the second Bourne movie. They're just like, yeah, none of these matter anymore.
If we use
Maybe
the title,
even the
though, we'll
second.
be okay.
So yeah. Anyway, before we start talking about Dwayne Johnson, I just want to remind folks to if you like these videos, hit like and subscribe and
Share, comment. We'd love to hear.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. We do this as a podcast as well.
Yep, check us out on that format.
Yeah. So there's all that. We got some merch. Want to support the show? That'd be super cool. And all right, so Dwayne Johnson, go.
You want me to start?
Go ahead.
Okay. Dwayne Johnson. Every time I see Dwayne Johnson, I know that our first response, well, especially earlier in his career, our first response is supposed to be, "Oh, that's a big guy. He's a big man, has a big presence." But I got to tell you, every time I see him, the first thing I think of is honestly, he's a man with a lot of heart. He's a nice person.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's that way all the time. I don't know what he's like, but he comes across that way all the time.
And he's taken roles that kind of show that.
He does.
You know, he's not just the big gruff.
No.
Wall.
No, he is a little. There are times where you can tell too. There's a cerebral person there. You know, it's not just all flat, one-dimensional sort of stuff. So, I've always enjoyed Dwayne Johnson, even very early, because I used to be, and no shame in this. I used to be when I was much younger, big professional wrestling fan.
Did you say no shame?
No shame in this one. Haven't been so much the last, 20 years of my life, or 15 years of my life or so. But always enjoyed that theater of the absurd that was, or is known as professional wrestling. And I've always thought of that and have seen it as just a wonderful form of acting if you've got the right thing. And there are people in that industry who are better than others. And the only thing that makes them better is not bigger, not more, buff. It's the showmanship and the microphone ability. So the ones with the best mic skills are the most successful. It's just a fact. And one of the best always was, he went by different names, is Dwayne Johnson. Really was. So he grew up, he's third generation professional wrestler, very big extended family. And I'm talking at least 30 people in his family were professional wrestlers. It's in his blood. There are lots of uncles and cousins, and so it's just tremendous. This family tree sort of thing. So he was born in this business, so he had seen it. He's very comfortable in his own skin and around a microphone, and I think that
Yeah, that's
makes
a
him
big-
a very good actor and very comfortable with new and different circumstances that might really keep other performers away from a good acting career. He definitely has a good acting career. I can even tell you that I saw him live the night he won his first championship title in 1997. He was at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium in my hometown
From
of
Lowell?
Lowell, Massachusetts. That's where I'm from. And so I remember seeing him that night. We brought a group of friends because we all just loved the whole tongue-in-cheek schlock. We loved that stuff. So and he won his first leg. Anyway, so Dwayne Johnson. I digress. So
Quite.
let me get to his movie career.
Yes.
And there are a couple of things that are very important, and you can tell, very important to Dwayne Johnson. And some of those is his family and his heritage. And that plays in a couple of movies of mine. So one of them is Moana. Disney has been trying, maybe not early, but they've been trying more recently, the last 10, 15 years especially, to try to get the right people to play the right part. So they want, if there is a Chinese character, they want someone of that ethnic background. And so when they were doing Moana, they wanted Polynesian background people. And being half Samoan, he's very proud of that part of his heritage. So it's in perfectly. Yeah. So they get him to play the part of Maui, who is big, not so much bumbly, but big and fun and bouncy, we call it. He doesn't bumble around.
Doesn't quite get into goofy.
No, exactly. But he's bouncy.
Yeah.
He's moving all around. He's got pretty much one thing in mind, is get my hook back.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. But there is obviously a greater, more important journey that the character Moana is doing, and then she meets up with Maui, and then they work together. So he gets a chance to sing, and he loves music. He has a credible voice because it's a Disney movie. It's not like, you don't have to be, the best singer. It does help, and he's credible. He's good. He has that fun, bouncy, "You're welcome" song. You're welcome. Anyway, but he has a lot of fun with this role, and he brings this joy and this verve to this character, which you already knew he had, but it dovetails really nicely with the character.
Yeah, he's that's
with the exception of the long flowing hair, you go, that could be a caricature of Dwayne Johnson.
Great casting.
Yeah. So he brought that to life, and it's fun. It may not be one of my favorite Disney animated movies, but it's still good. It's still fun.
Oh yeah.
And he brings a lot to that, as far as I'm concerned. So I love him as Maui in Moana. So another movie that'll bring me to one that I used to have this problem before. Now I have other problems, but I used to have this problem before, whether a specific role in a movie was big enough, I guess. That's probably not the right word. But we've done ones where you go, no, it doesn't matter. Yeah. This isn't a big role, but this person's incredible in it. Whether it's Dame Judi Dench or that other little one from Pulp Fiction that I love, Christopher Walken.
I thought you were going to talk about Kathy Griffin's.
Oh, well, that was a very short
Pulp Fiction. Yeah. Just
so many lines. So this is a smaller role, but I love him because this is where he gets to even more than in Maui, even more than what he used to do in professional wrestling. He's able to ham it up for a short period of time. In the
I think
other
I know
guys,
what this is. Oh, what? And the other guys?
The other
Oh,
guys.
all right. That's not the one I thought you were gonna pick.
and so
I thought you were gonna go with Be Cool.
oh no, so he's in the other guys, which is a very funny movie.
Yeah.
And it's and be honest, wonderful performances by Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. But the whole reason that they are wonderful and our attention's focused on them is because of how they look at the two superstar cops in their department, which is Samuel L. Jackson and Dwayne at the time, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and it's just great because
It's such a cartoon.
exactly
It's almost more of a cartoon. than Moana.
yeah, exactly. They get to save the day by smashing up cars, incurring incredible lawsuits in expense in damaging the city of New York and the police department's property for nailing the bad guy with a quarter ounce of marijuana.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
This guy stole a purse.
But the press conferences, it's all the mic skills again from his wrestling background. It's just wonderful. He's just like so, And then of course when they get back to the police station, they're like having their own press conference with their own people who are in theory on the same level and rank as they are, but no one's on the same level or rank as they are. So they'll be there talking to their friends, and the friends will be gushing and trying to take photos. Like, oh, what are you taking photographs of your own? And they're just all like, "Shut up! You're interrupting me!" And it's just great. Small role, inexplicable ending for his character and for his partner's character, but I just love that.
Yeah, that's a fun little bit.
It's so funny. The first, I have no idea what it is. First 12 minutes or so of that movie, you're watching it, you're like, oh, I didn't know that it would that he would be in this for so long. Like he's got such a big part, and all of a sudden it's like,
done,
over and done with. Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's a good one. I like that one. And then I would say another one on my list. I know I've mentioned this before. Not a big fan of the franchise, but when there are some good acting things, I still appreciate that. And he's in. Don't ask me what number it was, but one of the Fast and Furious ones. Hobbs and Shaw, and
I don't know if that gets counted among.
I'm not sure if it has a number or not.
I don't know if it's.
It might not actually. I don't know if it's
I
called
think I don't think
Fast
it
and
is.
Furious presents.
I don't know.
Hobbs
like
and Shaw.
8.5.
Yeah, could be.
Who knows? Who knows?
Could be. So that one, when that one came out, that pairing, and I know I've said it before at some point, that pairing of Jason Statham with Dwayne Johnson. That's just a good one. It's just a contest.
Their banter back and forth. They've got really good.
And then of course they have to band together. The bad guy.
Yeah, they have. They've got a good chemistry. It's Dwayne Johnson's got amazing. He's got great comic timing.
He's got good timing, and he's got good. I'm not going to say all the time with everybody, but there are some actors that he really matches up well with, and that timing is part of it. Yeah. But if he can hit it off, like I always hear, I don't know, that supposedly he did not get along with and never wants to work with Vin Diesel again. With whatever. That's I don't know, and that's what you hear, and I don't really care one way or the other. But the fact that it seems like he gets along with and works well with most people,
Yeah, you don't hear a lot of negative stuff.
No, you don't. And what's funny is
Meanwhile, he's having dog fights in his basement.
yeah, could be. You never know.
He's just like, oh my God, how did he get that baby to sit in the saddle on the back of that dog? My God, it's amazing.
Staple it.
Right? It's pretty much
because that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you see him around, in different places, and one thing that I don't think it's had another recent season, but he had a show on TV called the Titan Games, and it's his idea, his concept, and it's just about essentially regular people who are into fitness. Now, I know that may not sound like, why is Peter watching this show? Yeah, I agree. But it's because of his personality.
Yeah.
He loves this idea of just people trying to become better and helping themselves and helping their communities. All that stuff is highlighted. And so he takes a back step, but he still gets to interview the winners and who's moving on. And you really get the sense of, he's a nice man who just loves their stories. And that's why he's the one who's picked them to compete against each other. But whatever, he comes across very nicely, very warmly in a lot of these things. That TV show, we enjoyed that one. Haven't seen it in about a year or so. But you see him all around, and you don't get oversaturated for whatever reason, because he doesn't have that kind of a personality. It's not like, I'm done. Another one? No, I'm done. How many is this? 4 and 5 months? I'm done seeing him. It's not that way.
No,
so that's my Dwayne Johnson. I think.
He's got a good. I guess he's got a good. You don't see any of that, tabloid crap with him.
No,
it just seems to be.
I did think it could be me. He had, or maybe still has, another show about when he was younger, growing up in the wrestling, Young Rock or something like that on TV. I watched an episode and I didn't like it. And be honest, on the surface, I would have thought I would have enjoyed this a lot, because he's kind of like telling about when he was growing up with his dad in wrestling, how he's growing up. So he's like 8 years old, hanging out with like Andre the Giant and the Iron Sheik and all these other guys from that wrestling world. And I didn't really care for it. And I would have thought I would have. So anyway, but he's whatever, the producer and stuff. It's not like we see him, we see representations of him.
He's what I really like about him is that you've got you've always got the big hulking kind of guys in Hollywood. You got Schwarzenegger and Stallone, and they all do those tough guy movies, and every now and again, you'll get Sylvester Stallone. Well, or they're just doing the straight up hard ass action movie, and then it's you put Stallone in something like Oscar or Stop or My Mom Will Shoot or something like that, and it's such so cartoonish to put them into that setting that it's it's not even fun. It's just like Bull in a China Shop or Schwarzenegger in Kindergarten Cop or something like that. So that contrast, or Schwarzenegger was great in Twins, but you could just tell that it's just okay, we're gonna shove this big guy, because shoving that big guy
if we put him in a
this little
3-piece
comical
suit and the little glasses,
just shoving this big tough guy into a comic role. That's the joke. Not even regardless of what the premise of the movie is.
He's a scientist.
Just the whole premise of big hulking action star in a comedy. Oh, this will be great, regardless of the story.
Yep.
That's the joke. Whereas when you start seeing Dwayne Johnson do, my first pick is going to be this movie. It was a Disney movie called Game Plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
such an adorable, cute little
It's a-
movie.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things where he's just like, now he's up against this big hulking guy, you
Right.
know, up against the just relentless cuteness of this kid.
Right. Oh,
You know?
yeah. Yeah.
And he's got to play, but it doesn't get cartoonish. That movie
Yeah.
has got such a big, huge heart that you buy it. You're like,
Yeah.
you're totally
Oh,
in. And
sure.
you're like, yes, you know, that little girl suffers. She's got like an allergy to some food or something like that.
Yeah.
You can tell, like, he pulls off this super concerned kind of
Yes,
thing.
yeah.
And it is great and it's genuine. And I think that has been such a nice sort of turn for him from what could have been just, oh, okay, he's going to be the
Hulk
21st
Hogan,
century's, you know, Schwarzenegger. He's going to be the next
Schwarzenegger.
generation of,
Yeah.
you know, just
Exactly.
badass action guy, which he can pull off.
If he needs to.
But if
yeah,
you know,
definitely.
if the story, you know, needs it, but he can also do that softer, gentler kind of
Yes.
thing. And
He's-
I think
he's much more
it
well-rounded.
totally
Yeah.
works. My second movie would be The Rundown, which is just
okay.
a straight up action movie, but it's also really, really funny.
Yeah.
And he's, again, you've got that contrast of here's this big hulking guy who really just wants to open a restaurant and cook, and he's got
Yeah.
his little black book with his,
Yeah.
with his recipes and stuff like that. But then he's got to go collect from this athlete, you know,
Right,
bunch of
right.
money, gambling debts that the
Yeah.
guy owes.
Right.
And
I'm just
then,
a leg break.
you know, and he doesn't really want to use the violence because he's used the violence before and he doesn't like that side of himself.
Yeah.
But then he gets into this he's got to go track down this kid, Stifler. And I can never, he's got one of those three names.
He's got a three-name name.
Yeah. And I can never
Yeah,
remember
like
it. So it's
Chester
just-
Allen Arthur.
Right,
Yeah,
so-
okay,
yeah,
that's good.
sure.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
And he's very, very funny, and
Right.
he's almost the straight man to this comic
Yes.
smart-ass Stifler kid.
If you say Stifler, though, everybody
everybody
still
knows who we're talking.
So
It's
it's
like
not like you have to try to
Shaw,
guess the three names.
Walter, I don't know what the fuck his name. I really don't.
I don't know
It
either.
would, you could give me three names, and I'd be
And
just
you
like,
go, yeah.
okay. And sorry, Stifler actor guy. And then, you know,
He's Stifler's mom's son.
right.
Yeah.
So,
That's who he is.
so and in that movie, The Rundown, again, he's kind of the straight man, but it's a lighter kind of, you know, tough guy role. And when you see him you can see his face change to serious when he really needs to go up against the bad guys.
Yes, yeah.
And even Stifler's like, oh shit, you know, when he has to, you know, really turn it on. And Dwayne Johnson had a couple of those roles. They redid like Walking Tall,
Walking Tall, yeah.
you know, which was basically the same movie.
Sure.
But it's great to see that he did, you know, that Dwayne Johnson did do roles like, you know, Moana. He did do that silly role in Be Cool, where he's just, you know, up against Vince Vaughn, where he's like his driver, but he really wants to, you know, he wants to be an actor, and he's very sensitive, and he's gay, and he's with Vince Vaughn. He's just like, don't make fun of me because I'm gay. And it's just great that such a guy who could have just had this cookie cutter action career,
Very stereotyped career.
Right.
But,
but he does end up having some, you know, bring some lightness to it and some heart. Doesn't say my third movie would be Jumanji.
Oh, yeah.
Because he brings that as well. There's some vulnerability there and some sensitivity there. And, and he's just, he seems to be willing to sort of slough off the tough guy thing and put himself in positions where he might look silly, or another tough guy actor, you know, might be just like, I'm not going to do that. I'll look ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm not going to
Am
go.
I taking a step back in my career?
I'm not going to go do, you know, game plan and do a ballet class. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
I'm Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
So I really like his ability to do that lighter stuff. And still be kind of like, you know, and you can still buy him as a tough guy, but you can also buy him as the soft guy as well. So he's just got like you know, just he's got that winning smile. He really is just
He
a
does.
charming guy. I recently saw there's a cut from a Graham Norton show where it was like him and Kevin Hart was there, and they're talking about
Right,
the
yeah.
Jumanji characters, and one of
He's
his
been teamed up with.
Yeah.
Yes.
so he does one of his, you know, one of the character's traits in this Jumanji game is that he's got this smolder, that look. He does the eyebrow,
The eyebrow,
thing,
the
you know.
people's eyebrow,
Right,
the
you know,
people's
so-
elbow.
He's just fun. He doesn't seem to take himself too seriously, and he's just having a great time.
Yeah.
And that brings you in. I think that he's one of those guys who genuinely appreciates what he's been able to get from this career.
Mm-hmm.
Because he could have just been this guy going through the whole wrestling thing.
He could have, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
but he found his niche. He can be funny, and
Yeah.
So
And he seems to enjoy people, enjoy music, enjoy family, enjoy movies, and that's going to work. If you got that, it seems like he's got a good attitude.
he's having a good time, and you know, hey, mazel tov, enjoy it. 'Cause
Exactly.
He seemed like a nice guy.
And he's got a new one coming out, Jungle
Cruise, yeah, with Emily Blunt. So
another
that
Disney one,
yeah.
obviously based on a Disney
That
ride,
looks,
Disneyland ride.
that looks super fun.
It looks like
that looks really
it's
fun.
got all the potential for
Yeah.
it, for sure.
So,
Yeah.
It looks fun. So
And actually, you know what's funny is when we were talking about, he teams up well with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And when on the surface you hear, he's going to be teamed up with Emily Blunt, and you go, I think that's going to work really well.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I think
As
so,
opposed
too.
to, that's not going to work.
can't see those two together.
Yeah,
but I can.
that one
I can totally see.
Yeah.
Them.
Yeah.
Totally see. Them.
He also has like I'm not going to say ambiguous age because he shaves his head, but you could see him even now at this point in his career playing parent if he wanted to some like mouthy teenage kid, or you can see him still being young enough not to have kids in the movie and work. So he can do a lot.
He could do some stuff.
He can do a lot, and I can see him, calling his own shots and
I'm sure
making some great choices. I think. Yeah.
All right, let's recap because I was definitely paying attention to what Peter was saying. So yours were Moana.
Yeah.
And you also had Hobbs and Shaw. And you had, was it that the Titans show? Was that
No.
Or that was just
I was just saying, I've seen
it
him on TV. Yeah.
Then
it's a movie.
it is a movie that
Smaller role.
in Other Guys.
Other guys.
Yeah.
And yours were Rundown.
Yeah.
The Rundown. Game Plan. And your last one, Jumanji.
Yeah. So
You know what's funny is
we paid attention.
it's like
Literally,
I think we each
having
had a little
conversation.
caffeine and we're each paying attention.
Huh.
That's a deadly
That's
combination.
a successful combination. Caffeine. It's a hell of a drug. So
You got it. I asked the question at the beginning.
Book adaptation.
Yeah, book adaptation. What some are
do you know
definitely a little more.
it's funny.
Actually, sometimes the movie can be incredibly successful no matter what, whether the adaptation is good or not. Because some people their only exposure is the film.
Yeah.
Never the book.
Yeah, it's sort of a double-edged sword. One, the people who always start with, well, I read the book. It's just like, oh, great. Now I have to cross the room and slap that person.
Yeah, or I'm going to go
makes
over
work
to
for me.
the bar and just stay over there and avoid this person.
But I would, what's really, really interesting? Like, sometimes I think of watching a movie and then going back. I think it's whichever one you
see it first. Yeah.
Right? So, like, I enjoyed the Harry Potter movies. Okay? First movie comes out, really, really cool. Kind of got me into reading the books. So, it's a great sort of something to do as you're waiting for the next movie to come out.
next one, yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, but I get to like the fourth book,
That's like
and I'm
perfectly
just like,
franchised the way that
yeah.
was like coming
So
out.
I'm like, all right, so great, JK, you're
JK?
JK,
Just kidding.
JK, but it's just like I understand why she did what she did in the books, but by the fourth book, when she's still explaining that Harry just found out he's a wizard and he lives with his aunt and uncle who can't, it's just like the fourth book in. I know this. You don't need to
If
tell
someone
me
is
that.
just getting it now,
Yeah,
they still don't.
exactly. I don't need to do that, dude.
Save it
just,
for the dust
so,
jacket if you
no,
want.
and it really did. It really did. I got maybe a quarter of the way through the fourth book, and I'm just like, I'm tired of this. I don't need to recap.
What? He's a wizard?
And I really, yeah. And I just ended up just taking some time off from the books for a while for that. But I think that, and the movies left out a lot, but they kind of have to.
You have
the books are pretty dense, and they're pretty big worlds within the book. So,
I mean, if you just see it sitting on a shelf, you're like, that's a thick book, and you got X amount of them.
Yeah. So
something's got to give.
And they get thicker as you go along if you look at them on a shelf. And they're great. I really like them. I know you never really got into the whole Harry Potter thing.
But I appreciate where it fits in the in its own, in the cinematic universe.
When I saw the first Hunger Games movie, something occurred to me that was, I guess, sort of supported or even enhanced when I read the first Hunger Games book.
So you saw the movie first.
I saw the movie first, and then I went, I'm like, all right, let me check out the books. And it was just like, why don't they just kill her? Why doesn't the government just kill her? Just kill her. Like, just kill her. Yeah. Honestly, it's just like she's causing all, just kill her.
That's right. Enemy of the state.
Enemy of the, just kill her. Yeah. She's a pain in the ass. Yeah. And just kill her. The minute she did her whole, so many
movies, I like that sometimes when you go, why is this person still alive in this scene?
James Bond should have been dead.
Or just lots of stuff. Even in Star Wars, different circumstances, you're like, they've killed for less. Why aren't they just killing this person?
Right. You blew up a planet without a second thought.
Exactly.
It's just like, all right.
They're going to keep them alive a little longer so you can get some more information.
Right?
Like,
wow. So, but yeah, that just sort of, it bothered me about the movie, and then it bothered me more when I read the book.
Okay.
But good adaptations, as I try to turn this into a positive thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that what we're talking about? Yeah.
I think that going back to the miniseries in the 80s, the adaptation of The Winds of War.
Winds of War,
that was a great...
You've actually mentioned this for something.
Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway,
But it was a...
sure.
Yeah, it was like the miniseries. I thought that was a really great adaptation. I think they got the characters right, the story. I mean, it's World War II, so you know how it ends. But
what?
I don't want to spoil it for you.
Okay.
So,
Australia invades Iceland again?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the...
It's the weirdest World War II variant I've ever heard.
Right. It's the strangest game of Risk ever. So, but I thought that's a really good adaptation. The Game of Thrones stuff, I think, goes off quite a bit at certain points. I only read a bit of the books. So anyone who's read the Game of Thrones stuff and then watched the show, you're just ready to scream at me now because you either hated the shows, loved the books, or vice versa. So, 10 Commandments? No, kidding.
Yeah. The 10 Commandments were so much shorter than the movie.
Right?
Usually, the movie's shorter than the
it's a whole bullet points kind of like. Anyway, so I don't have a favorite adaptation.
Right.
If I could just underline the whole thing. There are some that are
just better than others.
I thought that my favorite author is John Irving, and there have been a couple of adaptations of his stuff. Cider House Rules was a pretty good adaptation. I think the book gets more into the whole abortion issue as an issue. The World According to Garp, I think, did a really good job.
It's probably about as good as you can get from that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's a tough one.
Yeah, same thing with Hotel New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And when you watch the movie, there's so much that I love about the book that they did lovingly in the movie that just made me want, more. I didn't feel cheated in the movie, but I was just like, oh, I just give me a little bit more. I just, spend an extra half hour and just give me a little bit more, because it really does suck you in. It's so good. So
I think there are sometimes too, there are just some, which might be the reason why there are some books or literature that either they've tried once and it failed, 30 years, and it's, and they just aren't revisited. Because I think sometimes it's just some books I don't know if you can really bring to the screen for whatever reason, mood or something. I don't know.
There's a book. There is a book that I read in the 80s, and I love this book. It's your typical
The Preppy's Handbook. Yes.
No, it's called the Wind Chime Legacy, right? And I
don't even know.
You don't know.
Never heard that.
It's a Cold War spy novel type of thing, and there's a big supercomputer involved that, reading it in the 80s is just like, oh my God, computers would never get like this. But then you look at artificial intelligence now, you're just like, oh my, like that movie would so work now. So I would love, this is
you
one
heard
of those,
it here first.
No, seriously, this is one of those things where, like, if I ever, get $1 billion or
try to do that movie,
or I would want to produce this movie. I would love to see this book made into a movie. It's got action. It's so good.
Oh, okay.
And I've gone to the point where I've looked to see if anybody ever bought the rights to it, because it would be one of these great, even now, even though they're a little bit older, like Matt Damon. And this is one of those conversations that my dad and I used to have all the time.
Yeah.
Like every 5 or 10 years, it'd be just like, Dad, how would you cast Wind Chime Legacy now, given who the actors are?
Did he also read it?
He read the book.
Okay.
Yeah, he read it a couple times. Yeah, I actually bought a copy once and gave it to. Do you remember? I don't know. I used to work at a movie theater.
I used to work in a movie theater.
So, and there was this other dude who worked at the movie theater. We used to call him Kevin Arnold, because he looked like the kid from Wonder Years.
Yeah.
So I love this book so much. I bought a copy of it, and I was just like, read this book. And I don't know, a couple of years ago, there was an Instagram post where he took a picture of her. He's just like, hey, like Throwback Thursday kind of thing. It's just
great.
This is a great book that Frank recommended. And it's such a great, I probably have 2 or 3 copies of it in storage somewhere.
Now, because you know that I am illiterate and
yes,
it's too late.
Not a big
It's already been out there. Maybe you could read it to me.
Maybe.
I'm sensing no from you.
No. My days of, reading stories to older gentlemen are over. I paid for college. That's it. So no, but that's an adaptation that I would love. I have pictured this movie in my head for 35 years. So, but yeah, if I ever got a couple $1 million, I would buy the rights to this and then try to find someone to make this movie. It would be a great Tom Cruise vehicle, or like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Yeah, I've been casting this movie in my head since I was a sophomore in high school. The Wind Chime Legacy.
There you go. Don't buy the rights before Frank gets to it.
Or buy the rights. I don't care. Somebody make this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've been thinking about it, and there's some movies that are very successful, whether they're good adaptations from the book or closer adaptations. There's some that are just good anyway. There's a movie that's very high on my list. I'm pretty sure it's high on your list. It's been mentioned on our show before. Anybody who's ever watched movies within the last 50 years knows The Godfather.
That was a book?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Someone just told me. So that whole Mario Puzo book, that was a big deal. 2 years before that movie came out. big deal, very popular. You know, and if you like, it's well written.
Yeah.
And the movie's a very good adaptation.
Yeah.
It's a very good movie. It's a very good adaptation of it. Obviously, there's more, you know, sex or violence that's done in detail, kind of more methodical, maybe.
Even when I was reading
In
it,
the-
there was
in the
more
book.
sex and violence in my life. That's a different thing. I just
Wow.
can't go back to Detroit. But go ahead.
So that one is a good adaptation. A lot of people.
Yeah.
I remember my friend. I have a friend who's passed away, and he loved, as almost all of us do, loved The Godfather.
Sorry.
Keep on slurping. He just loved the movie series, but he really loved, like, his Bible was that book.
Yeah.
I mean, he loved the book, and he always thought the same thing. It was a good adaptation.
Sorry, you said, because this is where my brain goes. Just
Yeah.
like, oh, his Bible was that.
Well, you know,
And
what
it
I
occurred to me, but it's just like,
a book
you know,
that
wouldn't it
holds
be great?
importance.
Yeah, no, I totally get
I didn't
that.
mean it like
But wouldn't
he
it be funny?
practiced what
It's
he
like,
preached.
well, no, like when people get like sworn into,
Yeah.
like if someone was
Exactly. Is that a Hustler magazine? What are you
Well,
getting
no, it's
sworn
just-
in on?
so-
That doesn't even make any sense.
you're being like sworn in as president, and
That's right. That whole,
like
yeah.
like what would be Bill Clinton's book,
Like I said, a Hustler magazine.
right?
You never
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Um,
So if you could choose,
Yeah. But then, like, when it comes to adaptations, too, I remember when I watched the movie Blade Runner for the first time and loved it, and, you know, based on a short story or a novella, I forget how they were, short story probably is, you know, based on the story Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by
Yeah.
Philip K. Dick. So after the movie, I'm like,
gotta
I'm
read
gonna have to
the
read
story.
that because I really enjoyed the movie. It made you, you know.
Yeah.
I read. There's nothing wrong with the short story.
Yeah,
I just don't know how they had the germ for the movie that I
Yeah.
just watched come
Take it
from
from there.
this thing. I mean, yeah, it's science fiction, the story, but I still don't know how they went from point A to point B. Each one is fine. I just
Yeah.
didn't see much of the connection, and I was like, wow, okay.
well, you get the germ of the idea.
Yeah, but still, I was
Yeah.
like, wow, somebody had an imagination,
Yeah,
took
well,
a ball and
That's what
ran
they
with
do.
it. But I didn't see how they even credited it, to be honest. But they did.
I'm sure that there was a lawyer somewhere who went.
That's right. Are you using that guy's name? Yeah. So
Mr.
that's.
K. Dick wants you to credit him. So
But yeah. So I think.
yeah, that's it.
And then I'm always surprised. That there are books out there you go, geez, we've never seen. You know, they don't. Or they may have tried once, and you find out, oh yeah, they tried that once, like to do that in the 50s or really, and they've never done it since. And you go, okay, again, I don't know why, but yeah. So some things work better, or they just, I don't know, maybe they feel certain things aren't going to captivate the imagination. You know what I mean?
Or they just said, you know what?
Yeah.
Instead of a book, instead of something that's got, really well thought out story, and this is like a full thing, you know what? Let's go look at the attractions at Disney. You know what? Haunted Mansion, sure, make a movie. Yeah, green
Why
light
not?
that.
Tomorrowland. There's a whole region.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
We'll just do that one.
So, all right, cool.
How about
Should
that
we,
jungle ride? You mean the jungle cruise?
Yeah. Is it a cruise, though?
That's what they
Is there a
call
whole
it.
buffet? I know.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah.
Can we do the bucket?
Well, we could. We're going to be that way.
I am. Prattle on, don't we, though? All right.
I don't mind. It keeps me out of trouble. It keeps
Something
keeps
to.
me out
All
of my
right.
wife's
That's,
way.
that's cool.
She said I should spend more time with you.
Oh,
I'm not exactly sure
right.
what that
I
meant.
don't know what that means either.
No.
What did I do?
Well, it's a trade-off. One man's. Yes. Okay. Very good.
All right.
Yes.
All right, folks.
Yes.
Well, hey, once again, you've wasted a good 40 minutes or so of your life doing this. So,
Just can't
What do you
stop
think
us.
your life-
Well, you probably could.
knuckleheads. So, hey, check out the merch, support the show, hit subscribe.
The
and,
podcast is easier on the eyes.
Podcast
too.
is definitely easier on the eyes. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye bye.